the song before I forget.
Yes. Should we start or wait for Edith? What do you all think?
She can join us in progress.
Okay, all right, well, let's say the pledge of allegiance and we'll call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Head and leg.
I had my son recite that to me for the first time yesterday from kindergarten. It totally didn't click with me that they were started doing that.
There she is.
Just a minute. Yeah, here, I have to turn my sound on.
Oh, they've got Edith is remote as well.
Minute, sweetie.
It's the remote day here.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Hi, Edith.
Hello.
Do we have any guests? Did anyone see any guests? I think we have one little guest.
A very small one and a dinosaur, as you
Oh, nice.
Multi-generational home.
Well, hello, guest.
Yes.
And dinosaurs. We'll see if we can bring them back.
I feel rather like a fossil myself.
And I'm sure everybody's familiar with the Zoom etiquette reminders and everything out there. Regarding the continuing organizational meeting, maybe any of you know better than me, should we be closing that or do we have to keep that open? Anybody know?
They seemed to indicate last year to keep it on the schedule, but I honestly don't know.
Okay. Did anybody do anything with that last year, all year? It just kind of hangs out on the schedule forever.
Reviewed the policy. I don't know.
I think it just kind of hangs around.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll just move past that. We didn't approve the minutes last month. Did anybody have any issue with the April or May minutes?
Move approval?
No.
We want to move to approve them?
Sure. I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor of approving the April and May minutes from 2022?
Yes.
Okay, minutes approved, I think.
Awesome. I could go sign those.
Yeah, you can sign those and get them out of there. Yeah, I made sure we did that. I have it. I literally have it highlighted on my thing. Don't forget to approve the minutes. I assume we don't have anyone who wants to speak in privilege of the floor since we're all members and we can speak at will. But if you would like to, let me know. Shauna is regrettably absent, so we don't have a report from the development office unless you guys see something I didn't, Kimberly.
No, she did send along.
Yeah,
an
the little
email
notes I have.
with
Yeah.
her feedback.
I will read those when we get to each one, if that's okay
Mhm.
with everybody, so. And I don't believe we have any referrals from town board, CIC or ordinance, correct? So we're on to right into the deep of it, the thick of it, into our PRC referrals. I think our first one is number 18, 5272 Menteith Drive, which I know because I used to go to that as a small child. And it is pretty close to Sarah Linda's property, but on the other side of Menteith Creek is my understanding. So.
Mhm.
Just get a minute here to pull it up. It was way, way, way down, Cameron, for some reason. I was just in there. It's 18.
Share that screen.
And you visited, Kim, right?
I did
Yes.
this morning.
Thank you for doing
I
that.
put some pictures up
Great.
too.
I actually went by after a visit to the transfer station after all the rain yesterday. I was curious as to what the creek would
Oh,
look
good
like.
point, yeah.
You know, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, to be honest. It's just the volume of rain.
It's very, there's always, so full disclosure, I grew up next to this property pretty much and spent half my childhood tromping around that creek.
Yeah.
It always has water. It's not, it doesn't go dry,
Right.
but it can have a much, much, much higher level
Yeah.
of water than usually the highest level in my experience with it was April.
Yeah.
You see a high level in
Flooding
April,
the
May.
banks. Yeah.
So, and then it goes down further and further home. But this
Interesting.
property is interesting because it doesn't just have the flooding potentially from the creek, but also from the lake, so. So
Yeah, I know
it's kind of a delta, so,
the banks all there are pretty shallow.
yes.
It's just held together by trees.
Mhm.
So tree roots are the bank.
That, well, and honestly, can you do me a favor? Can you pull up the tree plan? It's in there somewhere.
Sure, and I do
There was
have
like,
photos, so.
there
you
was
can look at
some
those.
page in it that showed how many trees they were gonna remove, and one of the things that was really concerned, that was what I was looking at very closely, because from
this
my
is-
count,
yeah.
I think it's, yeah, like third or fourth page of that one, I think. But from my count, I saw they had 55 trees listed as being on the property. Many of them were sort of silly little dumpy trees. But out of the 55 trees, from me just counting them, it looks like there's only 14 that they're retaining.
Most of the
plan.
ones that they're retaining are right on the edge of the
Yes,
stream bank.
exactly.
They're pretty much getting rid of everything. else.
Everything, yeah.
Were any of them ash trees or anything like that?
They
They're
had
mostly
some-
black walnut.
They're black walnuts, there it is, yeah, they're black walnuts and elms, and most of what they're.
Mhm.
So even the ones you see on the bed that it looks like they're not getting rid of there, if you notice, if they have that circle with a spot in it, they're still getting rid of it, they're just leaving the stump, but they're still cutting the tree. So they're cutting down everything with an X, and then everything with a circle with a dot in the middle of it is cutting down but leaving a stump behind. And then the only things that are staying there are the things that are fully, nothing whatsoever in the circle. So that was one of my biggest concerns for, I mean,
Huge concern with me. too.
Yeah,
I understand them removing because they have like some cottonwoods they're taking out.
yes.
Totally get that.
And they have to remove where they want to put the house. I get that too. So, but it's a lot of trees.
It
Wow.
is, and a tree stump will last roughly 10 years before it rots.
Okay,
So if it is holding the bank,
yeah.
you've got 10 years for something else to grow. Are they planning to put something back?
Well, and I was wondering, I mean, should they be putting things like willows in here or something that really sucks some water or something like that? I don't know. I'm not the tree girl. I just,
Or
know.
sycamores.
They need something with a big root system that's going to hold the soil in place.
Have this,
Little ornamental trees like, if they're putting in crab apples or something,
They're putting in
that's
red
not going to
buds.
do it.
They've got red buds, I noticed on that.
Well, those are nice, but they are a small tree and they do
Mhm.
not have an extensive root system.
Exactly, yeah.
and they were well within the stream setback too.
Mhm.
So they're how close to the 65 feet? And they're supposed to have 100 feet, talking about the residence itself, so.
They're wanting a 65-foot variance, if I remember right. So they're gonna be within
35 feet, okay,
It's really, really, really tight.
yeah.
None of those plantings are actually in.
Yeah, they're not on
Near the creek. I mean, ideally, like we've seen those other plans, almost create like your own riparian zone with multiple
Yeah,
stories
yeah.
of trees.
Over here.
So, yeah, you've got, this is the lake here.
Yep.
And that's the creek there. So, and so many, what I don't understand is so many of the trees were in this area too. I know you guys can't see at home, but I'm saying kind of on the northern, on the
She's
top,
talking up
yeah.
in here.
that's where so many of the trees were that they're taking
Yeah, it looks
down.
like
yeah.
the leach field. And
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Right.
What are these? They do have a sycamore. So the yellow ones that are shown, that are the funny little border, those are sycamores. If you can't read it at home, I don't know if you can.
Yeah.
The green ones are red buds. The purple things are service berries.
Also small.
Yeah,
Got some white oak, right? White oak are gonna be planted.
I see service berry, red bud, tupelo, sycamore,
Yeah,
yeah, white
small
oak, there's
white.
2 white oak, which
Yeah.
are
Down
the
by
ones right down by the lake. Those big green ones by the lake are white oak.
well, no, this property doesn't go all the way to the lake.
No,
Yeah, the lake's
No.
over here, so.
it's like a flag lot, correct?
It's got like this
Kind of,
little strip that goes to the lake.
Goes to the lake, yeah.
Yeah.
So those ones that they're showing up there, those are the ones that are gonna be cut and stumped there, that they're showing the silhouettes of the old trees.
I think so, yes.
So there will.
Can you go up just one page so we can see that? So, okay, so
majority of them
the
are
ones
there.
that look like this, if you can go with me here, the ones that look like that, that's the stump trees.
Wow.
And then these 41, 43, those are the ones that they're keeping. But like 42 and 52 and 51, those are the ones they're stumping.
So what are the types of trees that they're stumping?
So they're almost all black walnuts, sugar maples, cottonwoods,
Ah.
and elms.
If you read their notes, they don't like the black walnuts because they're allelopathic. Or allelopathic, whatever, however you say the word.
That's all the stuff, yeah.
That's why they're getting rid of all of the
Like
black
their
walnuts.
tomatoes
Yeah.
elsewhere.
And some of the black walnuts were the
Oh, they're-
30 to 40
they're
inches.
really big trees.
Big trees. Yeah, you can see, I don't know if you guys can read the inches on here, but it's, here's 28, 30.
Are those diameter, breast height diameter, or are those the height of
I
the?
think it's diameter. You were there with that.
Oh,
one, I guess. it's
Some of them
diameter.
are huge. I can show you
They're
the
big, big
pictures.
trees.
40
Those are some
inch.
huge trees.
Wow.
I took pictures of some of the, just the canopy and stuff.
In general, in good condition.
Some
How are
are,
the elms doing?
I know, that's what I was wondering.
I honestly didn't see them,
They look like they're small, because most of them are showing 15 inches, 10 inches.
but I didn't like tramp around the whole lot. I mostly went through the stream because I figured that was gonna be more important.
Just shocked that they're still alive,
That's what yeah.
if they're American.
I know that sometimes in certain areas, American elms, the saplings will grow for a little bit and then the Dutch elm disease will get to them eventually, but sometimes they can grow and stay around for a while.
There's one that's showing 20 inches with an American elm. Number 49 is a 20-inch American elm. I don't know what that is. It's got a big X on it right there.
Gee, imagine
And the poor sugar maples.
Yeah.
that. Yep. I saw a lot of black walnut and basswood. I saw some sycamore.
I mean, I think it's reasonable to, put in the request that they try to save more of the mature trees, especially the ones that are near the creek.
On the bank, yeah, I mean, they should not be cut.
I can show you the pictures. A lot of them.
I mean, if anything, they should be supplementing that to help out.
Well, I don't know if they realized how much that root system is holding their property together.
And that's not one of the hardened parts.
So this is the parcel over here.
Mhm.
You see right there. There it is. Just from across the road, so they've got like, as you can see, really big trees.
Yeah.
There's a bridge right next to it, so this is the parcel over here. Lots of Japanese knotweed. So basically all along the stream bank are a lot of invasive species. They've also got a fair number of dead trees along the stream bank already.
Is that looking towards the road or looking
This is looking towards the road.
from the lake or from?
This is a stream bed, so this is the parcel right here.
Okay, so you're towards the lake from the road.
Yeah. Stream.
I've walked under that.
You had a limbo under that.
Oh, no, I was littler.
I didn't understand this. There's like a gully right in the northern edge of the parcel.
Is it like where overflow water or flood water goes?
It's erosion, yes.
So you can see it a little better through there. It goes right to the stream, which is over this way.
Hmm.
So it is fairly good size. So I assume that they do have some serious running off there at some points. There was a bunch of forest plants. I just threw some pictures in of those.
They're beautiful.
Thank you.
Most erosion takes place in sudden heavy downpours. The regular stream under a rain like we had yesterday or whatever is not going to show erosion. It's just when you get, and we have gotten, 4 inches in an hour at different times. And then there was a tremendous flood and so on. And those trees are what is keeping that delta intact.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so the stream bank was really bordered by a lot of invasive species, so it's not the healthiest
No,
bank in that location.
it hasn't had much care, it looks like.
No. And everything that washes downstream, like the knotweed, just piles up there.
Mhm.
Um,
Well,
but-
that is going to be a problem when they, when they clear the trees and if they're doing any kind of digging or bulldozer work, that's going to free those roots to travel. So
Yeah.
they need to watch that too.
Kind of a strange shaped tree, but they are all large there.
Was it cut for the power lines perchance?
I would say yes.
Yeah, it goes right through the middle of the parcel.
Yeah, the power lines actually go down that stream. We used to lose power all the time growing up. It was ridiculous.
But I mean, this is pretty
Wow.
indicative of the trees there. They are quite tall and big.
Do they look healthy for the most part?
For the most part, yeah. The stream bed is really shallow, flat,
Wide.
wide.
It usually has, and
Small-
it's a, I think I mentioned that before. It's a smelt run in the spring, so.
Small banks, like I said, so I think it would be very easy for it to overrun.
This is pretty low for my experience with this stream, by the way, these pictures. I've seen them
It-
much higher than that.
Yeah, it was only ankle deep, and so this is like what the stream banks look like. Little bit of rock, yeah. Just basically, I think where it's piled up, like the ice has pushed it, or
No tiger lilies? There used to be a lot of tiger lilies in.
none. I saw none. I saw a few iris, but that was it. I don't know if those are trees to cut or trees to save, but it wasn't clear to me. But
Are they black walnuts?
Probably.
Probably got them. That looks like a black walnut.
or a cottonwood that's pretty furrowed.
Those are right on the bank. Well,
These are right on the
there
bank.
might be property down.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's it.
There you can see the lake off this way. But,
That is close.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's right on. it.
yep, this is the lake. I didn't walk all the way down to the lake, but
So down from that is that house that was always, that's right on the corner, that we were always concerned, basically. So if anything is done up here, it's like gonna
I-
exacerbate what we were worried about down there.
I think anything that happens upstream, so this is a house, these houses are all downstream.
That's the side where the hookers are, right? Correct? That's looking across at the hookers' houses.
I'm not sure.
That's what we reviewed earlier this spring.
So the parcel is back this way,
Yeah.
and then this is directly down from it.
Oh, okay.
But they had the well laid out, basically planting site plan.
This is
right?
the opposite side, the
That's the
house
hooker
right,
side.
right there, that's the lake.
That's the other one we've been reviewing, the house that's right on
Yeah.
top of it. That's the other one there.
Any flooding is they're not gonna be liking it.
Mhm.
Do they have any other plans to I don't know, reinforce the stream bed or anything other than the couple of trees and the stumps they're leaving?
They had trees they were adding, but I
See-
think that's one of the things that they.
This is exactly what's holding the banks together.
Yeah.
So that'll
Yeah.
get stumped and left and then,
Probably.
okay, yeah, that doesn't make much sense.
Let me read, by the way, so Shauna did have comments on it, I think. So Shauna's comments on it were, I'm very interested in the board's insight as it relates to this piece. They're asking for a substantial variance from the stream bank. If you know this site, it takes on incredible overflow from Menteith Creek.
There
So,
was a lot of lawn waste here too.
oh,
People were like dumping.
so management of the overflow from Menteith Creek is a concern. I've been on site twice, once with the architect, Kevin Albany, and the engineer. And we asked him to do a substantial planting plan for the stream bank, creating a better riparian buffer, as well as update the tree inventory to reflect what is staying and what is being proposed to be cut. I don't believe this is very visible from the lake, but we've also asked that they demonstrate that. So those were Shauna's comments on it.
Those have been addressed.
I think this would be behind those other houses, so I don't think this one would be very visible from the lake.
If they do start cutting down those large trees, that might be somewhat visible.
It's gonna change it, yeah.
One would imagine they're probably trying to obtain a view of the lake too, so.
That would be true.
Mhm.
So their justification for being granted this variance is precedent that the other properties down there have similarly been granted variances. The one we looked at has been looked at a couple times at the end
The one
there
in the corner.
on the corner. Yeah, I think.
Which
that
one?
they-
You guys keep referring to
Yeah,
that.
so
It's
it
obviously
was
predates my time
A
here.
couple
so-
years back, I forgot, it switched owners, it got purchased.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I saw
Is
the
it
kid with the reduced.
Between
footprint.
this house and
Do you
the
want me to
lake.
go to Encore?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
right, it's the one right on the corner that like, with all sorts of areas.
5260, no, 5265.
I mean, I guess, not having been on this committee very long and not having served on the planning board committee, why do we grant variances that are in directly not complying with plans that we've developed?
Good question, I don't know.
Yeah, but once it happens, everybody.
I know, like,
refers
is
to it
there
well.
some sort of reason why that keeps happening? I mean, if
I
it's,
think what we always hammer home is maintaining that 100 foot and preferably 150 feet where applicable, and when you get in areas like this, I know it's a little tighter. But that's the whole thing, is like, why bother having that rule? That
Oh,
that's
if
right.
it's
Yeah.
gonna constantly be kept.
well, I mean, that's my question. I mean, I don't know if the planning board, if there's something where, it's infringing upon homeowners' rights. Obviously, we don't want to ever infringe on anybody's rights as a
Yeah.
homeowner, but
But those people downstream aren't gonna be like.
exactly,
Very much.
that too. And the lake's not gonna be liking it very much. I mean, there's a 70-foot tall waterfall, maybe, I don't know, 200 yards upstream from here. I mean, there's
Across the road?
yeah, right across the street. So, I mean, that is, and I don't know, Edith, do you know, did anything happen with the flooding on the stream with that big storm that affected Mild property, 10, 15 years ago?
Yes, it all flooded there.
Did we have any data or pictures on what happened to the stream bed with that storm?
I don't know. Kevin might have something,
What's that?
Yes.
or you might ask Lindsay at the Watershed Association if they have photographs of it.
Do you wanna
Okay,
see anything? in
Yeah,
particular?
Scroll down,
5265, right?
5260.
because that was like 2006, 2005, something like that,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, so this is the one that got brought up multiple times. Just
Okay.
because of,
Yeah,
it
Yeah.
got approved because they reduced the footprint and made the effort.
correct. Yeah.
Looks like.
And
Well, it is a delta after all. That's why
Yes,
it's there, is
yes.
that the creek floods and brings material down and dumps it in the lake. It's not like it's a process that's never going to happen again.
So it was a lot coverage variance that they did, I guess, address by decreasing the footprint.
And I
Okay, can
believe
you
that's
click
what
on the
finally-
Shotland property again now, so we see where that is in relation?
But by taking out all those trees and not
There
it
replacing them per
was,
se, it's just more water that's gonna end up down there potentially for the neighbors to deal with.
Oh, that's definitely visible from the lake. I mean, it has lake frontage, so.
What's the, do you have the topo for that?
I
Do you want me to
think
go
it's
to-
right up at the,
Maybe
right
the
up
site
at
plan
the,
topo, sorry.
you can click it over there. You keep going, but
What- I'm sorry.
he's
what
looking
did
for
you want?
topographic
Yeah,
overlay
just
on
for
that.
how it runs through that property.
Is that one of these choices?
The view-
I think
view on
it's
the
actually
bottom.
somewhere in the I want to section under there. There's, if you scroll down on that thing on the left,
Yeah.
there's like, you can click on,
Where it says image on the lower left, next to
Oh,
that will
okay.
be topographical on the bottom left there.
yeah, there you go.
There, contours.
It's definitely steep right up by the road, by County Road 16. It's very steep up there.
Mhm.
So the flow, yeah, so like the flow through that property is to the back of those other properties down there when it goes overland there and
Okay.
towards the creek. So I mean, by removing that stuff too, I mean, it's more,
looks like
more
it's-
water to come downhill with there's nothing in place.
Yeah, all those trees are sucking up water. All the vegetation there.
Well, and it's not just the actual like stream bed. I mean, like we said, it really is a delta and it's the entire area. You know, it's not, this is not some small little blue line stream. This is one of the major tributaries of Canandaigua Lakes. Well, I don't know if it's a tributary, but whatever
Yes,
the
it is.
reverse
Of course it
tributary
is.
It's the only trout stream.
Yes, it's,
Yes, and it's a trout stream and everything else. Yeah.
it's a trib, yeah, I'm sure it is.
So their justification for cutting all the walnuts was the fact that it was going to impact on the vegetation.
Yeah, it says it
underneath.
right on the site plan down in the corner.
Well, that seems a pretty weak argument in my mind, that given the benefits of the
Site plan.
the trees.
There's
remaining
plenty
in
of
place.
squirrels to take away the nuts.
Exactly. you know.
How, so if there's supposed to be 100-foot wide setback from the stream,
It's
how
down in here.
wide is the property? Is it 100 feet wide?
Oh, there's the black walnut one.
Can someone read that out? I can't see it.
It says black walnuts is a liliopathic plant, meaning it releases a
Yes.
toxin, jugalone, however you say that, into adjacent soil, which inhibits the growth of other plants beneath it. Jugalone is present in the tree roots, leaves, barks, and nut husks.
Yes.
Which is true, but if you're planting natives, they're
Exactly.
used to that tree.
I mean, these other trees are growing
Yeah,
next
yeah,
to
they
it.
seem to be doing quite well.
Yeah.
I have
Again,
apple trees growing with them and they're
Yes.
not supposed to, so I
Yeah.
mean, stuff will
Yep.
grow with them.
Yeah, well, cucumbers are also alleliopathic, so.
Well, also if they're leaving some of the stumps in there, wouldn't that also just slowly as it decomposes, release it into the soil and surrounding water and everything anyway?
Yes.
If they're worried about that, they're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah,
It's slightly
well,
tough, but-
really, the stumps are holding the stream. If that's all there is, they've got 10 years, that's it.
yeah. That's really, really concerning to me.
Yeah,
When you look at the house, it's actually pretty large for the size of that.
And how
Understand.
far is it from the setback from the creek there? Is that 30 feet, you said? What is that?
I read in something else that they were
Yeah,
asking
it
for a
shows
65-foot variance.
35.
It's 35 to the garage, of course, 35 to the garage and 30 here. So
It
it's 30
seems like
feet.
that would be avoided if you use the garage. And it also seems like kind of a poor choice for the stockpile too.
Yeah, right by the stream.
I mean, it's understandable where the leach field is going, you have to take out the trees. But I mean, some of those trees look like they're getting taken out so they can put the stockpile there.
It's funny. Cut down the trees, topsoil's gone, put more topsoil on top.
Mm.
So is this lot even 100 feet from the stream? Like, is there anywhere they could put a house that would be 100 feet from the stream? That says that's 60 there, right? The leach field's 60 feet. Gosh, do we want a leach field 60 feet from the stream?
Right to the lake.
There should be
Yeah.
just a survey, like an existing conditions survey before this design. That should just show you the boundaries and you could tell how wide the property is. That should be part of this package, I would think.
This one.
It's called just existing conditions. There you go.
Thank you, Pat.
Yeah,
So 60 feet.
so at the road, it's what?
60
I don't see bearings and distances, so.
So wait, scroll back up because this says
100-foot creek setback, so that's this line then the whole
All
way.
right, there's a bearing.
So the only place they could have it is over here to get it 100 feet off the creek.
Yeah, well, 60-foot front setback. Let's see. That's from the road. I'm just trying to determine how wide the property is at its widest point.
Yeah. That's well, that might be an encore too, maybe.
No, not necessarily. It might, on the tax map, it would give you a general measurement.
Oh, so there are existing, there's an existing house there already? This is still the same property or is this a different?
That's a
property?
different one.
Oh,
They
that's
have
the
that
different
little
property.
bitty strip that goes down to the lake.
Yes, that's this. Got it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they planning to do anything on that strip?
It's probably for access.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it's access.
It's
It's
all
only
you-
it's only 22 feet wide.
Yeah, this all used to be access that went to the big old white house on right by this.
Right, yeah.
So that all the renters and everyone there had access to the lake and there was a dock out on the end of it, so
Mhm.
it's left over from that. But it appears that they're showing, can you put your cursor here? It appears that they're showing this is the 100-foot creek setback.
Yeah, that's a setback, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So is there any reason why we cannot have them be putting the house over here? Moving it at least?
Will they be in the flood?
Maybe we could ask them to move it away
probably
from
downsize
away
their
from the
house, too.
stream.
So do we want to recommend? Or a recommendation we make?
Yeah, I think, the main recommendation is kind of what we always do when possible, but, you know, abide by the 100-foot setback.
Yes,
I myself personally would like to see less trees being taken at the bank, even the ones that are just left to be stumps and roots.
Right.
Maybe they could minimize that and, leave some still totally standing without taking them down
and growing, yeah,
to a stump,
yeah.
reconsider taking so many.
I would agree with that.
I
And
would
for me, I
certainly-
would say not just at the stream, but the entire property. It's all.
Yeah.
And they should have a landscape. I'm sure they're working with a landscape architect, a knowledgeable person, to advise. I know they want to do what they want to do, but maybe it could be explained to us even in more depth why, so many have to be taken.
Yeah, I mean, is that the landscape architect's plan that with the?
Well, there were initials like initials of a company maybe or of a person, and is that the landscape architect?
I don't know, in their application to the zoning board, they, what do they say? The landscape architect for the project is preparing a tree plan that considers bank protection and removal of trees. So
Have we seen that yet?
I don't know if that's,
Maybe
think that's it.
maybe that's still being worked on.
I would imagine it is because this note from Shauna where she's asking for the updated tree inventory and
Yeah,
under riparian buffer, that's from yesterday. So I don't think they had anything yesterday.
So that'll be added to whatever we have, basically, those comments. I mean, we could just reinforce.
yeah. When it comes in, it should be added to the project electronically with everything else, right?
I would assume. So.
Absolutely.
So I mean, obviously that's a professional landscape architect plan. So
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of focus and effort on it's the downside of the house, but
yeah.
maybe add some more if you're taking them out.
yeah.
I'm super concerned about 30 feet from the stream bed.
That is really close.
That's so close.
Yeah. So it looks
Especially
like-
if you destabilize it by taking a lot of the trees out.
Yeah,
So it looks like they're trying to fit the footprint of the house based on that FEMA flood line. You can see that dotted line. So they can't get into that because they won't be able to.
You mean up north, well,
So
on the
this-
top.
sorry, you can see it over here. This is the FEMA, the 100-year floodplain. where they can't build it. So they're kind of constrained with that as well.
Although they could rethink their house.
Absolutely, if it was shifted to,
Or shrink it.
Or I was gonna say, yeah, think about a different footprint for your house. It is a large parcel.
Just to be cynical, doesn't it seem like we see a lot of places where people buy a lot that is too small and then expect untold numbers of variances from the town to make it fit?
Yeah.
Lot coverage was not a variance they requested, correct? So
Yeah, I know,
surprised.
but the distance to the stream bed is, and it's.
Well, this is more than the average problem with the stream bed, and it's the
Mhm.
delta, but it's not just, like we said, it's not just a stream. This
Yeah.
is- this
Well,
is-
the 100-year floodplain, how many 100-year storms have we had in the last 10 years?
That's the floodplain of the lake, right? It was
That's
just-
floodplain from the lake, but
Mhm.
the lake has come to meet us before.
Is there
And
a
with
floodplain-
climate change on the docket, it doesn't seem like it's a good thing to encroach on it.
Right.
Is there a
very
floodplain
much.
from the stream, or do they do that, Edith?
Pardon me?
Does the stream have a floodplain? Do they do?
Yes, of course, that's the, that's where you have the 100-year, the
100-foot
setback
yeah.
is because that is where you are in danger of flooding, is in that setback.
Mhm.
That's why it's there. I don't know,
And that land is very flat. I mean, there's not
very.
a lot of elevation gain from the
Yeah.
lake or the stream. So
It was entirely flat.
All of the elevation is up behind it, so the water is coming down at volume, at speed, and the topography makes the erosive force much greater. That's why the stream is so flat and so full of gravel, is that it has brought material down from those hills.
Yeah.
And
well, it's kind of in a basin because there's
yeah, it is. It's
like an escarpment that waterfall is flowing over there.
right, exactly. Exactly. It's and you get enough water, yes, it will move some of that gravel out, but it will deposit more, and that makes the stream more subject to flooding, of course, because it's anyway, you can't repeal physics,
No.
or give it a variance.
I mean, these setbacks are to protect the homeowner as well as the downstream, so.
Mhm.
Right, they are.
Stream, yeah.
So, what they said regarding the setback request, that the distance from the creek bank is in agreement with the neighbors to the south, and their residence is also 35 feet from the creek bank. It is also consistent with the neighbor to the east. Their recently constructed new residence is 28 feet from the creek bank. Finally, there is an existing summer residence, and I think this is Sarah Linda's. Construction of a is 18 feet from the creek bank, the original building of Sarah Linda's.
Mhm.
So they're pointing to these
Bad decisions.
these prior variances, so, yeah. So if
I
you,
know. Which of course means that we can't ever learn anything if they've done something foolish before. I don't know.
Again,
There's no good answers sometimes.
each site is in itself its own decision. I mean, if they want to utilize the precedent that's been set, that's not kind of how it works. I mean, it's a valid point,
yeah.
but
Mhm.
each one is taken
Has
as
to
its
decide
own.
at the time and things, interpretations change, more sensitivity to these changing weather patterns, that seems reasonable.
Just how the nature of. the land.
How long ago were these variances granted for the other buildings?
Well, the one of them not that long ago.
Oh, not that long ago? Okay.
The big one that you're pointing by the lake, you said that was in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is stuff that we've put in our piece and kind of
Yeah.
went to the wayside.
Yes, and it was,
Granted, so.
it was also precedence was cited with that one also.
Wow.
Also with landscaping, maybe making a recommendation, we said earlier, if they're going to replace certain trees, we said instead of some like the red bush or whatever they were.
Redbud, yeah.
Redbud, recommending trees with larger, deeper root systems and stuff for their landscaping. And maybe
Yeah.
checking, I said we saw a bunch of invasives in the stream bed, if they're going to address any of that or look into that at all.
That would be good.
It would be a recommendation I would make if they're gonna think about anything.
What, can we give them some specific tree varietals that you would suggest for the site with a large root bed?
Well, they have some good ones on
The
there
sycamore,
already.
like you said.
The swamp white oak, the sycamore, I mean, just more of those along the creek itself. And then filling in with those little shrub species like they have on there.
Mhm. Well, there's, sycamore is certainly a good one, river birch, tulip poplar, all of those.
Surprisingly, black walnuts do well there too.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Evidently.
There's a lot of black walnuts in the neck of the woods
Mhm.
and sugar maples.
Yeah, I don't know how much, I mean, with the invasives that are in the creek bed, I don't know how much they can do with that, because that wouldn't really be on them, nor I don't know what they would need permit wise to do that.
And I would also say, one of the other things that Shauna mentions in here is they haven't very clearly indicated it's the visibility of from the lake to this plan, which I think needs to be more clearly indicated. I do think it's actually, if you're cutting down a lot of trees like that, and given the size of the residence that's a little north of this on the lakeshore, I think it is probably more visible from the lake than people would imagine, so.
Yeah, I think when those trees do grow up though, those will be quite large trees, the swamp white stuff.
But those are actually between them and the other large house.
Right.
The part you'd see from the lake is like coming in.
Coming up from down on the
You'd
left hand side.
So this is where you can see from the lake, which is why they have everything going that way. This is like, would be coming in. like that.
So it's wide open.
That's where the end would be. So, and that's why, probably why they have their veranda aiming at it.
their lake view preserved.
If I had to guess, I would say
Yes.
that veranda is aiming at a lake view,
Yep.
so.
So are we gonna suggest they reconsider the footprint to allow them to abide by the variance or the setback requirement? Yeah.
I think we always should, yes.
Yeah.
Not to beat the tree thing to death, but since that is a trout stream, shading for the stream is very important because trout are certainly temperature dependent, and that's a trout spawning stream.
Yeah.
So canopy over it is important to maintaining that.
Yeah, DEC might have something to say.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a
There
town
you are.
only one, so.
Mhm.
With knotweed though, that can really make a huge difference in that whole ecology. The
You have
Japanese.
plenty of
knotweed.
shading, but.
No, when we were talking about invasives before,
Oh,
because that will just overrun and nothing else will grow there.
goes through.
Right.
Everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a mess.
you can't kill it.
It's very hard.
Do we have more comments on this or anything else we'd like addressed?
No, I think granting the setback variance, the benefits are not exceeding the detriment to the ecology and the neighbors' properties. I think the ZBA usually has that kind of verbiage that.
They do.
Yeah, something like that. You can wordsmith
Kim's
that.
good with that.
That's why we have Kim. That's
I'm
why
doing ZBA minutes now.
Kim makes the big bucks.
He makes us sound smarter than we really are.
All right. All right.
You said neighbors' properties amongst the others. So,
The ecology of the area.
And aren't they supposed to submit some sort of water quality preservation? Like, isn't there supposed to be a water quality preservation plan that they submit or something?
I don't know.
Wonders,
I don't know.
there's drainage issues.
I think they need to submit water quality preservation measures, I believe. Because it's within the 100-year floodplain, so. Or that could be why they're trying to avoid the 100-year floodplain, but.
They're not.
But is it within the 100-year floodplain of the creek? It's gotta be at 30 feet.
Mhm. It would be a creek, yeah. Probably not of the lake, but although it's pretty close there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
I would hope they have their flood insurance up to date.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay.
Wow.
Do we have any more comments? And I mean, my final comment, I mean, I'm not a committee member, but just simply the volume of tree cutting overall. I mean, to have 14 trees remaining of 55 existing trees from my count. That's
and those
a
are only,
lot.
and those are only the trees they counted.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
More there than that.
Exactly. And so
Little
that's,
baby skinny trees.
yeah,
Exactly.
so all of which are holding this delta together. So that's,
Well, and you found some smaller plants there that are pretty relevant too for where they are, that are probably gonna be wiped out when all that comes
Yes.
out.
Yeah.
and then the final thing, the leach field, or, I mean, isn't that a concern to have that in that location?
Well, it looks like
or
they're
no?
outside of, so that's where the line is, it's right up against it,
Okay,
the floodplain that they were showing, but it seems like everything is within, I guess, where it can go.
Mhm.
Well, there's the 100.
Yeah, it's just within, they're just outside of that.
They really wanted to, they could turn their house on the side and move it up there and shrink it. But who wants to do that?
Yeah, well. You know,
okay. Are we good on this one now? Well, not good, but done with this one.
we're done with it.
Okay. All right, let's move on then to the Simmons Rockwell property number 29. It's at 1947 State Route 332. This is the property that has the silo on it on 332. Shauna's notes regarding this is Simmons Rockwell owned a parcel with the old silo. Applicant is proposing building it to sell refurbished Bobcat equipment. This is not a repair shop, but a resale sales facility. Mechanical repairs will be done off-site. Applicant is essentially detailing them and making them attractive for resale. Plan is bare bones in terms of detail. The board may wish to consider asking for a buffer between the parcel boundaries and the site as it is actively farmed. And it is important to note that the site is within the strategic farmland protection area, as well as the Paddleford Brook Greenway. And she's looking forward to our insight on it. I'm not a big fan of doing much at all within the strategic farmland protection area or the Paddleford Brook Greenway. However, this is on 332. So I think it's a little bit of a different parcel in general than most of what we would see. For
So
that
is this
area.
outside of the uptown area?
Yes, this is outside.
Okay.
Uptown ends at Emerson Road. So,
Okay.
so the uptown, if you aren't, all folks are not familiar, the uptown is part of the there's an MUO over there, which is the form-based code area. It essentially goes from like Eric's office to Emerson Road, and then from 332 up and in quite a ways in there to park through around Parkside Drive area. But yes, this is far, far north of that.
Okay. Try that again. I don't know how to change that back.
It's all good. How many times have we all done this with the Encore property? Did anybody have a chance to go out there? Or everybody kind of knows essentially.
Drove
what they're
by there
talking
2 weeks
about.
ago,
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
I think I drove by there about 7 times last week.
Yeah.
So it's 1947.
1947, yeah.
Right.
So if you type,
Go up.
1947 right into the search bar, top
Yeah,
right, and it'll populate it with all the 1940, and it'll tell you a couple of them. You got 3 choices.
There you go.
Oh, there's just a dot. That's why I couldn't see it. It's just a dot.
But to
all you
indicate
get.
the address, the address, yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah, it's the silo. Yeah, the dot actually, I think, is the silo. That's kind of funny.
Mhm.
It's a very small property, very vertically challenged.
Guess so. That's very funny.
That's where all the bats come out, right? That's silo.
So I don't think, did she say that I think they're keeping the silo, or do we know? I think they are.
It would add character.
Yeah, I thought she said they were keeping it, but I don't know.
Plan.
It's kind of a little bit of a landmark of sorts for a lot of people. It's not quite where the timeout bear was. We had that discussion last time.
Farmers still use silos.
That one's pretty beat up.
Okay.
That one, yeah.
From these beat up as well.
They were using for stuff too. What is it? Lincoln Hill Farms. They use it for a nice little
Yeah, they
bar
do.
area and stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Some of the Mennonites use
I think,
those
yeah,
ones for
yeah.
sugar chats.
What?
Is it closed? Hang on. I think Sarah Linda might be joining us, so I'm not sure.
I probably.
I think Sarah Linda had a speeding ticket in there.
I drive by this one a lot. It just looks like farm fields to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is right now.
What were the improvements to this that they were doing for this?
Oh, do you want me to scroll down?
Drive there.
Oh, there's a little silo.
Right there?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sorry, guys.
What's the thing next to the silo? Those lines.
Probably leach field looks
That's a
like.
septic.
Yeah.
The history team meeting is what's happening.
Yeah,
Yeah, leach field.
leach field.
So. Can't make this drive the way I want it.
What did I miss? Anything
No,
interesting?
no,
Okay.
we were just,
Identifying what's in front of us.
Got it.
they had history meetings at the same time as us.
I don't know if they usually do.
So there we go.
Mhm.
Anybody wants to see?
So they obviously there's a leach field there, so they have town water, but there's no sewage
no sewer
out
up there.
there.
No sewer.
No sewer there.
They'll be dealing with oil changes and things like that, or not. You said it's just gonna be a detail.
Said not, yeah.
All I have that note, yeah, where she's saying it's detailing.
Just detailing.
So that'll be washing, I would imagine, and they're bobcats, not cars, so they're probably going to be fairly dirty.
Yeah,
Yeah, they will be getting the oil, the gunk, the residues, and all of that. And when they clean it, will be getting fed in there, so.
Right.
not a repair shop, so
No, it's not.
not a
intensive.
repair shop.
Yes, it's a sales store, they're detailing and probably painting, little paint things maybe, and washing bobcats. Refurbished bobcat, so it's a used bobcat equipment.
What was this? What's this zone?
Good question.
How is the leach field going to affect that pond that's right near it?
We used to have these.
Well, there is a, I know, I thought about that too. There is a setback.
Here it is.
Is that what
Circle.
the purple circle was?
Circled, yeah. Mhm. But it looks like,
There you go.
yeah. Looks like there's some,
If it's
well,
a-
restricted.
pond, of course, would be low, yeah. What I can't make out is what the oval business is over to the back of the property.
Oh, here?
Yeah, what is
No.
that? I
Yeah,
can't,
it's almost looks like a berm.
I
You
can't
know,
read what it is from. on my-
Wait, if you scroll down, there's like a little, the blue arrow points to it there. Does it have a
Okay.
thing up to the
oh,
side?
there we
there?
go.
Pipe
Oh.
drain?
Pipe gutters.
Or infiltration basins.
Oh, it's a drain.
An
Yeah.
infiltration basin, okay. Infiltration basin, stormwater basin, okay.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because that would clear a lot of the water before it gets to the pond. You can see that the drainage would go to the pond, of course, but
Mhm.
it's,
Or to the farm behind it.
mhm.
So this would be a loss of currently farmed farmland.
I thought, didn't Shauna say it wasn't?
Yeah, I don't think
Isn't
that-
it?
I don't think that area really
Be
is.
behind it.
or-
there was
Okay.
fields,
I think
but-
in one of them,
Behind it is.
not actively
Okay.
on this property.
So that's all asphalt, the ground cover for their parking. No special treatment.
Says that it's paved. It says.
Paved, it says, yeah.
Says gravel yard for here.
Well, we've seen bigger parking lots.
Certainly.
Yeah.
It's pretty far away from the pond, which is nice.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, they've got a,
100-foot
Offset area.
offset from pond high water mark.
100-foot offset from pond high water mark, yeah.
Yeah,
And it's back of that, so.
yeah.
So where are they gonna be parking the bobcats that they're gonna be working on? Is it gonna be inside the building, or is it gonna sit out on the stone, or is
Well-
it gonna sit in the paved area?
They have the equipment storage on stone, right off of the driveway to come in.
I gotta keep doing this, I'm sorry, guys.
I think the detailing part is going to take place in the building, and then they'll
Mhm.
park them outside is what usually happens with those
Mhm.
kinds of operations.
That would be my guess. Well, so they've got parking spaces up on the, what is it, the top, let's call it the top of the screen here, so they've got.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, along the front of the building.
looks like there's,
So that must be sales directly to the right of that, I would imagine.
Mhm.
And then that.
And then there's a few more there. Mhm.
yeah,
It's still.
10 total, looks like.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, there's ones in the back too. That's probably employee, I would imagine.
Could be.
I have a few things set out here, I would
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, they might bring in the old equipment that needs to get reconditioned in that back stone area. And then the stuff that's cleaned up could be in that equipment storage.
That would be my guess.
So it doesn't look like they're doing any landscaping.
Around the silo, red mulch. But it makes a reference to the landscape plan, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they do need to buffer it from the farms a little bit more than they're showing here.
Yeah, that would be good. If they're gonna do it.
For placement. This is potential.
There we go.
What is green?
Maybe it's gonna be seeded like lawn or something. Yeah, lawn
Looks
area.
like grass to me, yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna plant lawn.
Mhm. Yes, proposed lawn area.
Mhm.
Burning bush.
Or we don't want burning bush.
Was that?
So what's burning bush?
No, burning bush is an invasive anymore.
Okay, really?
Yeah,
Roses,
it
right?
is. It has taken over the understory in a lot of the forest areas, and it's, it's an introduced plant, so there is really no habitat value to it. It
So they have-
seeds prolifically, and it's actually, I think, on DEC's list of invasive species now.
Mhm.
So they have daylilies, catmint, viburnum, rose of Sharon, burning bush, and Japanese tree lilacs. And
Well, tell them anything but burning bush. The rest of it sounds fine.
Yeah.
The really burning bush ought not to be planted anymore.
Okay.
Oh, it's smoke bush. Those are cool.
They are
It
neat.
says burning bush on the.
Smoke bush.
No, a smoke bush is something different, so.
Yeah.
They are neat. They're like spirea, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe
they are. They have a
something.
white blossom. Yeah.
Yeah, they are a neat plant though, yes. They get pretty big.
I have some of those. What's the, what kind of buffering would we want planted? I mean, I assume we would want it on what we're seeing as the bottom of the red line there. Well, essentially surrounding it in a way, but I mean, where would we want to encourage them for some screening and buffering plantings, and what would we suggest for
Well,
screening and buffering plantings?
I think the most important place would be next to the farm fields. The pond has brush around it already, if you've been by there. I mean, there's a great deal of brush around it. But I think the back of the lot is where you would be wanting some separation from the
Yeah.
farm fields. Probably
East
not
side
only
of the property,
for
you're saying? The east
yeah,
side?
not only for the farm fields, but farmers are spraying herbicide and pesticide and fertilizer and stuff that's in the, ammonia, things that's in the air, and it would be good to buffer this building and the customers from anything that's being applied to the farmland.
Good point.
So you're saying on the eastern, which would be the bottom of our screen.
The bottom of the screen, yeah.
Yeah, the
The
bottom.
eastern part of the property, yes.
Could you
Which
move
is-
the map down a little bit, Kim?
See, it's close.
Now, you all can see that the plowed field comes onto this property.
Oh,
You
are
see
they going to
that?
maintain that?
Well, it looks like the Pritchard farm farms onto this land, which probably shouldn't be that way. It's like over onto this land.
Mhm.
See where it says edge of plowed field?
Yeah, I see.
Mhm.
Yeah, it should be separated with a buffer. with
Maybe
some
they just
plantings.
don't realize that they're plowing that far in. More than likely, they don't realize that.
Well, is another thing that the buffer might help with is indicating.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
delineating the
plants-
property.
Are you suggesting trees, Edith?
Oh, I think some, a tree line or, shrub line or something would be a good thing. It'll catch
It'd be
some of
harder
the
to mow
dust.
over.
It'll catch dust, it'll catch chemicals, it will delineate the property. I think all of those would be good.
yeah.
All right, and we aren't suggesting a need for that up by the pond, just on this east side. Anything on the north or south side or the pond area?
No, the pond is pretty much buried in shrub anyway, so I don't think they're farming close to that. I think it's already got its own buffer.
And the south side, it looks like, what
It
is it?
looks like there's tree line there already, doesn't it?
They've got something shown as a squiggly, like, see these little squiggly, yeah,
Yeah,
don't know what that is that indicating to you?
That's
I
like a
don't-
hedgerow, but that's squiggly green.
Can we pull it up
Yeah.
on? Encore
The
again?
aerial
We
should
can
show.
see.
Yeah, maybe we can look at the Encore.
Oh, yeah, there's a tree line, there's trees.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
you can
well,
see
you
where
can
the
actually
farm
see the
field
plow
is
line
on
there.
that land,
Yeah.
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 Looks like there's a little bit of shrubs in here too.
Yeah, see around that pond, there's all
That's
kinds
wow.
of brush, yeah.
Well in there.
I think it's pretty well protected.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we want to suggest that they have buffering trees and wood shrubs on the east side of the property.
Yeah,
yeah.
Do we want, I mean, how do we just, how does that communicate to the Pritchards that they're plowing? I mean, obviously, if the
Well-
owners want that to happen, I mean, that's their prerogative.
Well, the owner would have to have that line staked so they could establish points on that line, so they would know and the farmer would know where the line is.
that's right. And it will have
That's
to
how
be
you deal
surveyed.
with that. And then if you want to do trees, that line is the guide as to where you would plant your buffer, you know?
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, and other than that, the other concern would be it being in the Paddleford Brook Greenway and strategic farmland protection area. Are we okay with a project of this nature in this particular location?
I would suggest if they're using any cleaners or paints or oils or whatever they're doing to make sure that they're doing that inside.
Mhm. Yes, proper
Yeah.
chemical storage and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments?
No.
No.
Okay. I think we can move on if Kimberly's ready. I don't know. Or we'll have to write everything down and navigate everything too, so. The next one we have is this 2236 for 5275 Paris Street Extension. And Shauna's comments are 3 guys. Paris Street Extension, this is the current horse barn boarding and riding facility. They are subdividing off the house from the barn side for mortgage purposes. The only issue is that the barn is now too close to the side property line by 66.5 feet and will need a side setback variance. Equine barns need to be at least 100 feet from a property line. Other than that, it is as existing and continuing as such. She saw no issues from the conformance side. So it's kind of like a pre-existing, non-conforming.
Well, you used to be able to do what's called a mortgage parcel. Once upon a time, if you had land and you had a house on the land and you wanted to do, well, just mortgage on the house or for whatever, maybe for improvements or things like that. But I believe those have become where people have to subdivide. They can't do these mortgage parcels. So that's kind of what these folks are planning on. It just helps them be in better shape, I guess, with the lender.
Are they retaining ownership of it
Yeah,
then?
they are. No plans for sale, just,
Mm. I see this is more or less a technicality for
I
the
think so,
privileges of
yeah.
mortgage. Yeah,
yeah.
Anybody have any concerns on it?
Why did it get sent to the ECB?
I know.
That's what I was wondering, why we're reviewing this.
I was
Because
just,
it's a horse barn and manure and stuff like that might be an issue.
No, it's always
I
been-
don't know.
House has always been there.
So,
It's just kinda-
so they, when Shauna said the horses have to be, what was it, 100 feet away?
100 feet, yeah.
So that won't be when they,
Because I think they're creating that property, it sounds like, so that it's all been one piece and now they're subdividing and
They're
creating.
subdividing.
So
Yeah.
that's
so
why
is
it's
that part
not,
of the problem?
I think that's essentially the main problem is that it is not. It's
The
been-
setback needs to increase. I mean, they could move the boundary, the lower boundary up to achieve that setback, I guess.
Yeah, but they also have their leach field is down there.
Yeah, the leach field is here,
And
so
they
they can't.
wanted to keep that, with the house.
Yeah.
See,
That would be good.
Yes,
Yeah, I agree.
So that was kind of a problem for them too.
yes.
Yeah.
Pump my stuff
Let's
to your
set that
property.
precedent.
All right.
It's
Yeah.
just horse poop, don't worry about
Yeah, there's that
it.
little, I guess there's that little, like, I don't know what you would call it, that drainage point that's there, but that runs through the pastures, but
I don't see.
that won't change or anything to what they're gonna do.
So they're doing nothing more than subdividing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, they're good then.
Does
It's
anybody
just
have-
something they, I guess, had to do in order to maybe move forward with some lending,
Mhm. Where they're retaining ownership of it. And
Yes, they are.
It's their, the boundary is close to their own place instead of the part that they would be, really don't have any problem with it.
Anybody have any concerns?
No.
All right, I think we can move on to that one. We got a note today, this next one, the 2238 has been moved to July. So I don't think we need to talk about that one right now. However, would anybody like to go and check that out and maybe bring a less experienced board member with them? To help with some training on
Shauna
site
said that's a
reviews?
possibility that it's moving to July, so.
I would love to go when I get back from my trip, of course, or maybe if you really wanted to, Sunday's my last day before I'm gone.
Okay,
Is that the little cottage on Westlake Road? Which one is that?
I haven't reviewed it to know.
I don't know.
I haven't looked at it, I don't know.
3611.
We won't know until after PRC. if
Whether
it's
you're gonna do it,
referred.
okay.
So it may not get referred here, but I don't know if anybody has time between now and July for any of these referrals that'll probably come through again to go look, but it would be helpful when we get the referral list, if folks on the committee can just send a reply all that says, I plan to review this, or, I plan to go here, or I'd be interested in checking this out.
Okay.
Just so we can get
Okay,
some other people. And then like we saw, I think it was, what was it? Up to 2 people can accompany another person, but we can't have more than 3 ECB members there at any one time. So at least discussing it. You can be there and talk about the weather. But not really.
I think I'm probably going to be out of town for the July meeting. I'm headed to Kansas to see my daughter and probably help her chase her bison back into their own pasture.
Oh,
that's
bison
Quite
like,
exciting.
don't the bison like the Atlantis tree?
Oh my, I think they're crazy. I kept telling them fence.
Anyway, okay, so that is the end of our reviews, if I'm reading this correctly here. So
Mhm.
the ECB page for the town newsletters, the first thing we have got here under our old business was a nice article again. Teamwork on that one, so.
And the
Anyone have
display
any
case,
ideas that they'd like to talk about for July? Over my dog in the background, I have to apologize.
I was thinking something that maybe a little bit more insect friendly. We've had a lot of bad insects, so
Yeah,
maybe something,
good insects.
good insects, you know, your
Honeybees?
fireflies. and-
Yeah, that
Or,
sounds like a good idea.
So-
Beneficial insects.
Have we
yeah.
ever done anything with like mason jar bees or any like,
Mason bees.
yeah, a
Yes,
mason bees?
actually, we have done articles about native bees, mason bees, leaf cutter bees, and so on.
Mhm.
But that would be a good one again. Boy, my
it's like a craft you
greenhouses
could
are
do.
busy right now. They're great.
Yeah, I was thinking things that are more insect friendly, so what are some suggestions on how to reduce mosquitoes without like calling Mosquito Joe or something, you know? Things that are friendly for fireflies, you know, just kind of changing up.
Dump out all your still water.
Yeah.
Or really, we could do something on the composting program too.
That would be good.
Possibility too.
Good.
Yeah, we could do composting with worms.
Ooh.
Is a worm a bug?
No.
It's technically different, yes.
I was gonna say, it's not an insect.
Most people will, you can foster it in sort of like a tomato's a vegetable instead of a fruit.
Well, a whole thing about decomposers would be good, you know,
Yeah.
to go with the compost, the worms, the bugs, the fungi, you know. I've always been interested in slime molds
Ooh.
because they seem to have more intelligence than you might think. They will move. They'll move to a new place and send up a sentinel organism. And
I don't even know what that is.
just the weirdest
was an
things in
article.
nature.
They put it through like a maze or something, a slime mold, and it was able to do it.
Yes, they could. I know. They're just
Well,
amazing.
maybe someone could write that and Edith could be in the background helping them.
Oh, yes. Well, we'll see. I've had
that could be
husbands who
very
would
interesting.
categorize me with
Maybe I
slime molds.
should put
Because
that-
Edith knows all this good stuff.
Weird thing.
Oh, it's July in Canandaigua. Let's all talk about slime mold.
Slime molds, yeah.
That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
that's when you might see them actually cooler in the spring. You will find them.
I was gonna say,
I
that seems
think they're
kind of like
fascinating.
like a March article when you're kind of grumpy, you know, like not necessarily the July one.
Or just.
Hey, kids would be really into this, just so you
Yes,
know. You talk
yes.
about slime molds
They
around them,
love
I'm
it.
sure they'd
Yeah,
lose
they
their
would love it.
minds.
You know, whatever you guys want to put in there, is fine with me. All above my pay grade anyway.
All right, so we have to put our thinking caps on for July.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you for that animated discussion of slime mold.
You're gonna look them up now.
Look them up. You'll be amazed.
Okay.
Okay, the town hall display case, are we changing that out for summer at some
I
point?
did already.
Oh,
I think I will maybe change it again. I put up a display of the trees that are blooming and,
Oh.
you know,
Oh, good.
without, yeah, take a look. It's
Mhm.
all, I changed out the wildflowers because they're pretty much done, but the blooming trees are up there now, including, but I did not exactly specify which ones are which. I listed all of the trees and said, can you identify these? So if you happen to go by, take a look and see
I'll
which
be there
ones you
in
know.
Minutes here.
I included one that blooms in the fall, not in the spring or the summer. So take a look and see what you can get.
Is it
If
yellow?
anyone else really wants to do a display case thing, I guess we could always do slime molds there, but anyway, the chipmunk is wearing a spring flower in between its ears right now, so take a look and see. I did change it out last week, so it is different.
Nice.
And anyone else is quite welcome to enter in and put something up if you wish. You know, it doesn't have to be me. Please.
And would anybody else like to do anything in the display case? Anybody have an interest in it?
Eric, didn't we talk last time about maybe putting up some flyers from the trails and stuff like that that you guys were creating?
Yeah, once we get closer to the actual kiosk installation, to get some prototypes, pictures of prototypes finalized, that would make a nice display.
That would be great.
Yeah, we can still have the trees and the bloom. It can just be in the area right near it.
That'd be neat, trails. That'd be neat.
Next door to you right now, but I'm with you guys, so.
Mhm.
Be good for the fall time too.
Yeah.
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 Good.
Mhm.
All those wonderful time to go out on the tracks.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay. Then we've still got on here our Sandy Beach zoning discussion for new business. I think we can talk about this a little bit, but it's gonna be hard to really talk about this without Shauna here. as
Yeah,
She's the one who's
yeah,
gonna
Right.
be the most knowledgeable about this, but what we can probably figure out is what are we, obviously the zoning and the constant variances are causing problems down there now. So
Mhm.
what are we looking for what are we looking to achieve? What are our goals with if there was a rezoning for that area? And would we just want it to be a particular area, or there's a zoning map in here, actually, it's of course the whole town, but it's just showing them in, I think it's just in the residential Lake Shore district.
I mean, I think one of the things to look at would be just high density. When we look at that for other projects, or how that might overlap with an area like that, or what we could borrow from that to create that
Mhm.
new zone, or if that
Right.
makes sense, that you would just utilize some existing guidelines.
I know we were talking a lot about people getting rid of all the permeable like land and areas there with excess paving and even bigger houses and everything. I don't know if we wanted to mention anything about that.
I don't know if we can do that through zoning, but
Well, that might be a place where we could propose something for the permeable.
mhm.
Yeah.
As far as, yeah, offsetting lot coverage, using those different interventions, but yeah, I mean, the issue was constantly seeing variances granted. I think there were some other, we've had other discussions in the past where, questioning whether this is being looked at when the ZBA is constantly granting variances. Does somebody go back and say, the code people, the ordinance committee, gee, do we need to, and maybe it happens, to go back and say, we need to relook at this and tweak this particular rule because we are continually granting variances.
Having sat and taken minutes for all these
Okay,
different things,
okay,
I can say that somebody has to bring it up. Somebody has to like do the work.
really, and say, geez, yeah,
Propose it
Yeah.
and
okay.
draft something, and Doug's been helping a lot of people draft things, so
Okay.
if we have ideas,
Yeah,
he might be a resource.
was there a feeling that there would be a completely different district for Sandy Beach and some of these other more dense
We
areas?
can create districts if we want to. I mean, if there's
which would
if
have
there's
its
a
own
reason
rules.
for it.
Right.
I mean, that area, Otisiana and Sandy Beach is kind of an unusual,
Mhm.
it's, I mean, with the houses on the one side of the little access road and the garages on the other side
Right,
primarily.
Right,
It's kind of unique too. I mean, you'll find that coming up every once in a while off of off of Westlake and
right,
other
yeah,
areas, but I mean, there's a couple consistent problem areas. That's one. I think of Ana Linda is another one that's a problem area that's always having issues come up as well.
Mhm.
So
And
something like
a lot of
trails,
pre-existing non-conforming structures in all those locations. So,
Mhm.
but it's the age-old question of, reducing the destruction of the older homes and building the newer homes along the lake shore and,
Right,
but
yeah,
What also would save, I guess, folks in the town and the boards time and effort if there is stuff already in place, so they're not constantly being triggered for review.
yeah,
And hours spent out there by zoning to look at it. So I mean, that's one of the goals I would think we'd want to have to reduce the effort that gets put into them too at the same time.
So we can ask Shauna maybe, I mean, do we think that there should be a separate zoning district for Otishiana and Sandy Beach? B, is there an ordinance that needs to be changed here? I mean, maybe that's what the answer is too.
Yeah. Defer to Sean.
And I
guess,
don't
as to
know
what
if
the
there's
best
a, I mean, there are obviously already pretty stringent rules there that are just constantly not working for the projects with all the variances that are going in
I
there.
think a
But
lot of it is
but-
like, people don't want the little house they got. They wanna like
of course,
get bigger.
that's the permanent problem on the lake. So
Yeah, yeah.
So
This is America. We go big or go home in a lot of places.
But if they wind up making it bigger and they winterize some of these places, it's conceivable that they would be staying there. You'd have more year-round residents there.
mhm.
So that would change things too.
So we need to ask Shauna for which direction we need to go with this, and if we want to create something, I mean, if we wanted to create something regarding permeability, that's not necessarily just applicable to this area. That's kind of a lakeshore,
Mhm.
the entire lakeshore residential district,
Right.
that would be,
That might be a little improved that can be accomplished.
yeah. So,
Yeah, this property, we ended up not reviewing today, just driving by it. I mean, that's also just kind of shoehorned in. I mean, it's one of
the
these
Sandy
very
Beach one
small.
from last time.
No,
Shay?
no, the one that we ended up not
Mentee.
doing on West Lake.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, it's a
another
very
one.
small cottage
They all are.
next to 3 other very small cottages
Mhm.
north of German Brothers. And I'm not sure how that area is, that's known, especially because I assume there also has some variances, but I guess if we do look at it next month, we'll learn
Yeah,
what they are requesting.
You guys, who ultimately approves or does not approve a variance? Who ultimately makes that decision?
zoning board and the planning board.
Okay. Okay.
Which, by the way, I believe there's still an alternate position open on the planning board if anybody's interested. So,
They like meet every week, don't they?
no,
Twice a month.
twice a month, every other week. It's not that much worse than this.
A little bit longer.
It's a little longer.
Yeah, it's long. Yeah, I think it was 40 some odd pages was the minutes from this month. You aren't doing the planning board minutes, are you?
No, that's
Yeah.
John.
Oh, John.
Thank goodness. The ZBA was bad enough.
Yeah, that was, I was gonna print it off and I'm like, whoa, I think maybe I might want to just look at that one. Okay, so I want to remind everybody on Monday, speaking of more than one meeting a month, on Monday, June 6th, we have our joint board meeting in the Linda Conference Room down the way there. That's between the ECB, I think that's the ZBA as well, the planning board, so town board. So everybody from this board that can be there and is not in Alaska or something, I would appreciate it if you could be there on Monday.
Will it be recorded so I can watch it afterwards?
They're all, yeah, everything's always recorded on the, and put on
And I've already
YouTube,
been asked to
so.
do the minutes, so there'll be minutes to it. So,
Alrighty.
Yay.
Gets to approve those though. It's gonna be a problem.
I'm not sure. Shauna asked me to do it, so maybe her.
There you go. So, yeah, so just make sure that we can get there. That's also a great spot for us to have conversations like this about, we're seeing these variances and, why do they keep getting approved? What can we do to sort of dial it in so that we're still protecting the environmental concerns? Actually, can we have just a quick discussion? Are there some issues that we would like to bring up at that joint board meeting? Are there some things that we would like to forward as an ECB? I mean, I know you've brought up in the past too, wanting more discussion about solar
Right.
issues.
Yeah, I've got family visiting, so depending upon how that goes, we might attend or.
What, are they getting here 4 days before then? Because you'll probably be bored with them by then.
Yes, solar was the one that So this is the Ag Committee, ECB, who else?
The planning board, the zoning
Okay,
board.
okay.
Yes. And the town board. I don't know if the ag committee is there. I don't-
No,
yeah.
not Ag, okay.
Just the boards.
I think permeability and mitigation are issues that we ought to be looking at. I think also tree removal is another one that we ought to be looking at. You know, what are the parameters for it, particularly where they're close to a water course.
Didn't we also say that we might want to put forward a like list of natives and other things we might want landscapers to look at in future or properties
Yeah.
to know about?
Well, the tree committee is working on that, and if I can get the guys to speed it up a little, that would be helpful.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we could create some sort of a, I don't know if that'd be an ordinance or local law or just a reso that when people come in to apply for any sort of variance that they're immediately handed that piece of paper that's indicating these are
These are suggested trees.
suggested tree species. Yeah.
That could just be something the development office does.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's automatically. Now I'm gonna make you come in, Kim, and hand it out to everybody.
Yeah, thanks.
Kim's like, I'll pass. Okay, so permeability, tree removal parameters, solar, anything else we'd like to bring up on Monday?
Oh, I'll think of something as soon as the meeting's over, but I won't think of it now.
Well, you can forward it to me or Kimberly and
Yeah.
I'll,
Right.
sure Shauna
Maybe
has.
just the stream bank setbacks that we have.
Yeah.
This is something we continue to
Setbacks are
do
good.
and have to constantly put in the same verbiage every time for our recommendations.
Mhm.
Because at one point there was a push that we were gonna try to go for the 150-foot setbacks, I believe. Basically moving it up when possible from the 100-foot to be more in line with, I forgot which document we were utilizing then, but instead of shrinking it down, we were looking to increase it basically.
And I don't want to make this sound bad, but do they, when we say 100 foot on the stream setbacks as part of our recommendations, do they ever do that or they?
Honestly,
they
that's
push
something
back?
I would like to bring up. I mean, as you guys all know, I'm new to this whole thing and I haven't been on a planning board or a zoning board before. And I know, we can legislate everything that's on these walls all day long. But if it's never being followed, I mean, I don't,
And what's the point? Yeah.
exactly. And that's kind of the thing with all of these projects. I mean, yes, we want development in Canandaigua in keeping with our plans and suggestions, but what happens when it's not in keeping with these plans? And why is it then when something's off of these plans, like there has to be a reason. So I think of, for example, the property we were just reviewing with the silo on 332. Yes, that's in the strategic farmland protection area. Yes, that's in the path for Brook Greenway, but it's a roadside on 332, which makes it very different than the entire rest of that protection area. So there is a decent reason why it doesn't particularly matter as much for that parcel as it might for another parcel, which is why we consider them all on a case-by-case basis. But why, when that's not the case, and it is something like the other property reviewed tonight,
Yeah.
why is it, well, you gotta stay 100 feet back from the stream. We really want you to stay 100 feet back from the stream. Don't build more than 100 feet from the stream, and then it gets approved. So
Yeah.
why does that happen?
Right,
So,
yeah, it's kind of once in a blue moon things where you look at it individually, like the one you just mentioned,
Yeah.
the silo property. That is different than the ones where repeatedly these variances are being granted in similar situations.
and then utilized as precedents.
Well,
Right,
yeah,
future.
that's more, I mean, maybe
Yeah.
not recent, but seeing that in these applications now, just having them in there, I mean, that's kind of new to what I've seen basically.
really, yeah.
Well, I mean, we don't want to expose the town to any legal liability, and that's part of the problem. I think that's why they're citing them as precedents, so. Because particularly when you get to these lake frontage setback peoples, you're not generally dealing with people who don't have excess cash available to them to be able to pursue it from a, legal matter if they need to. So.
Well, that's one going to the zoning board, I know, and I know that's one of the things they look at, is what's the character of the neighborhood,
Mhm.
is there precedent, if they granted other variances and that type,
Yeah.
so.
That's one of those, like that one in particular is just, you gotta look at the community around there. It's like, yes, you need to look at it as a whole, but when multiple properties are doing that, you're disturbing it to a point where it's gonna
Yeah.
cause something worse to happen.
Yeah.
Because you don't have that buffer there anymore. And
Mhm.
just take a view of it, basically, needs to be part of that process.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry, my concern is that in thinking of the property we were talking about on the lake, downstream residents might seek damages or might seek liability from the town for permitting a variance like, we've discussed to be passed. I mean, in a sense, next time there's a major flooding event, one property's improvement will put the other properties in harm's way.
Agreed.
That's true.
Any other comments on it? I think honestly, if we talk about nothing else at that joint board meeting, figuring that out and how we can all work together to better meet our plans.
Mhm.
I think that's probably the number one thing that we need to talk about. Okay. Any other comments from anybody or anything else?
Sorry, I'm so quiet tonight. I'm getting over COVID, and it really takes a bit out of you. So apologize for not saying too much.
Sorry, Eric. I hope you're feeling better soon.
I'll see you later.
Anybody, any notes from the Citizens Implementation Committee at all? I think that's Pat, is that you?
I missed that one.
The CIC?
Well, I
Okay,
was there, but I don't remember what we were talking about. Isn't that a wonderful thing?
so is that thrilling? Okay, good. The local history team is all upstairs. Eric, got any comments or anything from that?
What was the topic? That might jog my memory.
What was I'm sorry?
What was our topic of the last meeting? That might jog my memory.
I don't remember. I was at the one before that one.
I don't remember off the top of my head. I did the agenda, but I don't remember.
Oh, you know what? Wasn't it about the agricultural enhancement plan and
That
extending
was-
it? Or was that
an
2 meetings
earlier
ago?
one.
Okay.
I believe I was there, but had to cut out early for something in my office. So
It's all right.
that's terrible. I should take notes. Shame on me.
Well, maybe it wasn't anything too crazy, so it just didn't stick. That's probably good.
Hang on.
Priority goal status.
Oh, yeah.
Status of the goals, how we're meeting them. Was that to your strategic goals and such?
I believe it was.
Okay.
I can't give you an intelligent answer. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Don't worry about it. Anything from the tree board or the local history team?
The tree board is just still going around to the town properties, cemeteries, etc., and assessing the condition of the trees and things that might need to be removed or for safety or whatever. We'll be meeting again on the 20th, sometime in June. Yes.
So you may want to approach Jim Fletcher. They do now have a, what is it, a cherry picker type truck now that they now can attack some tree removal if needed in cemeteries and such. And they, without entering neighboring properties, so.
Yes. Well, that's good. There are trees that have been marked in some of the cemeteries and trees that we have noted in the parks that I would say present a public safety hazard.
I think some of the ones you had marked might have fallen down last week, actually.
Well, We just don't want them to fall on anybody. Speaking of lawsuits against the town, that,
So if you have any park trees that show up, that's definitely Lindsay Frary is your contact person for those.
yes.
Got that. The cemetery ones, now we have a new cemetery committee, so I would start with Karen DeMay.
Yes.
But any of these things also, you can also approach Jim Fletcher on as well.
Yes, well, I think that the meeting notes go around to most of the people concerned, so that's good. We are trying to make sure everyone's informed of what needs to be done with them, but we are assessing them, and the things like the peanut trail and anything that's town property.
Great, awesome.
There are so many dead ash trees.
Sad.
It's really dismaying. Yeah.
Okay, local history, anything? Eric, you're on that, aren't you?
Yep. But currently not in the room.
Yeah, they're upstairs, so I guess we can go up there next if we're not having enough fun down here. And then I just have, I think that's about it for what I had, other than all these, don't forget all these training opportunities that are coming up. That I want to make sure everybody's getting their hours for the year, so make sure you sign up for some if you haven't filled your hours yet. So, and all of you are aware of the new property that the town purchased. Is everyone aware of that, by the way?
Yes.
So,
very happily aware.
Yeah, at the last town board meeting, we announced, so does everyone know what McJanet Park is? It's the kind of like pullover on 21 south of Cheshire there. So McJanet Park and actually, could you pull up the encore on McJanet Park area? McJanet Park and, thank you, Kimberly, and Ononda are actually kind of in line.
Address or something?
Just go to
I have to look at my
In
old,
Cheshire?
yeah, it's way south of Cheshire. Look at the corner of Seneca Point Road and 21. That'll get you to the best spot want to be, so. At any rate, we were presented with an opportunity. A property came up for sale for about $70,000 that is just to the north of McJanet Park, and actually includes a good portion of the stream, which is actually the stream that eventually becomes Ononda Park's stream, and also has one of its sources coming from the Vista project. Where are you? Hang on, I'm gonna go over there. So the town purchased.
So there's 21.
Where you up here.
Whoops, just a second. There we go.
So McJanet Park is about here somewhere. Click in here. There's like a funky little actually go. Oops. This is doing that.
Whoops.
So right here is McJanet.
Here?
No, okay, here it is. This is McJanet. See the, now I'm doing things.
I can't see.
Here, am I blocking it ahead? See this triangle right here? The little
This one?
triangle, the little teeny one right there. That, so that's McJanet Park. So that we already own, so I don't know if you can X out of this.
Yeah.
So this little triangle here is McJanet Park. And
I can't, it's because I didn't search for
well,
that.
so can you circle this with your cursor just so we can see? So this piece right here that has the blue line stream going through it, that is actually the property that we just purchased. So that was
Nice.
around $70,000. We might be able to do some stream water riparian issues, but this stream also goes up to the Vista property, which is right up here. You can see the Vista trails. And we actually have an easement to follow basically the trail down here, this little, see this strip here, so this is Vista, and then this strip here is an easement, trail easement. Then we have this property and McJanet right here. And then this owner is currently working with the town, if you want to move out a little bit, to allow us to have a trail easement along the stream. Along the stream to here. And then this property right here, if you can see this guy, that's Ononda. That's the top end of Ononda.
Great,
So this
great,
is,
yeah.
so this is Ononda. This we're gonna have access to as a trail easement. This we own and that we own. So we're
Awesome. Great
that much
hiking.
closer to connecting that whole stream. I was really, really excited when that opportunity came up, $70,000. So
Yeah.
So-
It's marvelous.
So
Great.
we are gonna, at some point, I'm sure, be asking for advice from Kevin O'Bany and from this committee as well for plans and ideas and things to do with the stream bed there. And, you know, that's, right now, it's just under contract and it will be owned very soon. So very exciting piece. So
Good.
Starting to link things up. That's
we're
wonderful.
trying. We are trying. The town board, I will say, it took like literally, I think it took less time for Doug to call all of us on that property than it took for us all to say, yes, yes, absolutely, yes. So that was
Excellent.
luckily very much something everybody was very happy to do. So
Mhm.
Very nice.
anyway, and if anybody doesn't have anything else for the good of the board, I'll let everybody go home. Or stay where you are.
Yes. No wheels today. Yes.
I think we've had motions and seconds that have happened, all agreed with adjourning for the evening.
Alrighty.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Megan, I'm gonna leave your name tag in my mailbox here. If you stop in, great. If not, we'll figure it out eventually, so.
You'll eventually catch me and pin me down somewhere.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks,
Have
everybody.
a good one, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Enjoy Alaska.
care.
Yeah.
See you Monday.
Yeah, great.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy